is going on, everybody? What is happening? It is your favorite everything JR Wisdom. Once again, a beautiful Friday here in the Low Country with my great co-host QT Dub on the ones and twos. What's happening with you, my brother?
Oh man, not much. Just try to get through the day. Gonna soak in the show. You know, it's a lovely Friday. After some man, I know you went back to the Low Country. We had some crazy storms here last night, but of course it's been par for the course for what, like the last week and a half.
Yeah,
out here, like kaboom. And that's if we just talking about normal H2O precipitation. It was also raining rocks yesterday. Did you hear about that? Did you see that?
Nah, man, I didn't know about that. I didn't even hear anything about that. Wow.
Yo, yeah, man. Across Georgia, some of South Carolina, and some of Tennessee saw Meteor come through here yesterday about noon, lunchtime. Big ball of fire. Like I have it saved. I'll pull it up later if you want to check it out. But and some of them, I think a house in McDonough, which is down in like Henry County, I believe, allegedly had like debris go through their roof, through the ceiling, through the second level of the home, and into the floor, the first floor. So luckily nobody was in that area, but they, of course, they checking it out to see if it's actually a meteorite or not. But the sky was on fire about noon yesterday. If you were outside, I wasn't.
Now, when you say on fire, before we get into it, like what do you mean? Like,
no, literally, it was like one of them Armageddon, style fireballs coming down. You know what I mean? When a meteor typically burns up in the atmosphere, and that's what we see. And then if any of it makes it through, then that's a meteorite, and that's what they're saying. Thinking that may have hit the house in McDonough. Yesterday.
So it wasn't like a shooting star or something like that?
Well, technically, that a shooting star is a meteor. Except typically the shooting star burns up.
Right.
So that's the only difference between a meteor and a meteorite, is if it burns up or not.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that is ill. I mean, I used to see them all the time. I know when I used to live in the desert.
Because
the sky.
Dog, say less, because you had no light pollution.
Right. That's the term for it. I'm glad you said
no
that.
Light pollution out there. Yep.
You know what I mean?
All of us nerds know about this. I'm actually skipping through I'm like, since we talking about it, we might as well look at it right quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the share on. What's up, Don? Good morning, sir.
What's happening? So they be I know back once upon a time, and you probably, while you looking it up, it'll probably tell you.
I got it.
How much is actually dumped into the earth and the atmosphere on a daily basis.
Oh, got you. As far as debris.
Debris and everything that actually comes into the atmosphere. This firmament we have, or whatever, that's protecting this earth, for those of you who are either flat earthers or otherwise said, you know what I mean? But let's go ahead and pull that up here.
Okay. And this is Georgia, somebody on Georgia Highway around noon, I think, yesterday. Here we go.
I remember some shit in Russia.
Yeah, that happened in Russia in 2013.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy, bro.
Oh, now see, the one in 2013 in Russia was off the hook because it was a crazy impact that, it had a blast.
But they write this stuff off and they can't explain it, man. It's like they can't explain. They try to give you it was like somebody launched a missile,
Yeah, I think it's safe to say though that we didn't have any missiles over here.
That's broad daylight, like you said, man.
Broad daylight yesterday. So yeah, man, we had all kinds of storms in the air. You know what I'm saying? Regular precipitation, rocks and whatnot.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll stay tuned to all that, man. But
yeah, well, at least it wasn't the Iranians.
Yeah, for sure, man. Before we get into today's topic, guys, go ahead and hit that like button. Let us know where you guys are checking in from, age, sex, gender, location. Man, there's more people on Facebook today than we got on the tube. 11 people watching on the tube.
Nice.
Shout out. And this is a hot topic too.
Wow. YouTube's just warming up. It's coming. The announcements are coming. I'm trying to see if I got one.
15 people on Facebook. Okay. Yeah, but this is a hot topic too, my brother. But
yeah.
So
I got Twitch notification.
yeah. So guys, go ahead and drop where you guys are checking in from. We'd like to know where you guys are fellowshipping from today. This is a live call-in show per usual, and if you feel the need to share your thoughts on whatever it is we're talking about, hit
Please.
that link to chime in. And with that being said, guys, we're gonna have a great show. So I wanted to kick it off, QT Dub, in terms of the Diddyisms,
All
right?
right.
Are you tracking what's going on with this Diddy situation? What have you heard?
Well, what I'm tracking is that it seems like everyone is arrested, meaning the defense and prosecution. And the thing that I was looking to track, I hadn't seen that much of at all, which was like weapons, human trafficking, like that stuff. Like all I really saw was like baby oil juice.
Just a
You know what
bunch
I'm
of
saying?
paper.
The tea about that type stuff, which is fine and dandy, but I'm trying to figure out where the legality is in this. Like I thought the juice was going to be human trafficking, underage people, alleged drugging, and maybe that came up and I missed it, one of these days. But I'm curious to see where this is supposed to go, because right now I don't know what they're going to, quote unquote, put him away for based on what they brought up in this particular. Unless there's other trials coming. Are you aware of that?
Man, I just think this is all bull butter. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this was a trial just to embarrass this guy and put his business out there, to ruin him for any future dealings. That anybody would want to deal with him. You know what I mean?
More than a smell of roses. Okay, so last summer when this, first came to head and everybody was on it, right?
Mhm.
We had the whole situation of like Homeland Security and stuff, straight bum rush in Miami and LA residences, right? And that was supposedly like the big smoking gun. Like they were there because there were these human trafficking charges and illegals weapons cases. Like that was the big thing for the quote unquote feds.
Right.
Not all of this salacious stuff with the freak offs and all that stuff. That's just for social media to consume. So I'm trying to figure out where the criminal activity is at. Like, where's the testimony about that? Where is the testimony and the evidence brought by Homeland Security, FBI, these people that raided these two properties? Where are they at? Like, I got all the personal assistants and the ex-girlfriends and that stuff, but where are the people?
That the FBI, when you're speaking on that, man, one of those, I guess the lead agent for Homeland Security or FBI, the feds, all he basically talked about was baby oil. And when they put him up on the stand, you know what I'm saying? So, and they dropped a few charges, but those charges weren't even really the main thing of what he was being convicted of. You know what I mean? What they were trying to convict him of at the end of the day, which was everything you named just now. So let me click on this video and play this recap here.
Yes, I mean, the defense really, their case, Max, has been throughout cross-examination because they really had no case at all. In fact, their case was less than 30 minutes. As you said, they called 0 witnesses, instead just submitting some additional exhibits into evidence that the jury will have handy in that deliberation room. Now, deliberations can begin as early as Friday, but prosecutors indicated it'll likely be Monday of next week. Closing arguments are set to begin on Thursday. Those will likely take 2 days. So Thursday and Friday, again, the jury getting the case on Monday, most likely. Now, as you said, Combs did not testify and will not be testifying. I had reported that yesterday. I had a source familiar with the case tell me that Combs had been wrestling this and weighing this with his defense, but ultimately came to the conclusion that he wouldn't testify. Well, today, when the judge asked Combs in the courtroom if he understood his rights, that it was his choice to testify or not, Combs said that he understood his rights. He said that he had spoken with his defense at length and that he opted not to. Now, an interesting moment in court today, Max, the judge also asked Combs, "How are you feeling?" And I want to read you exactly what he said to the judge. He said, quote, "I'm doing great, Your Honor. I've been wanting to tell you thank you." He went on to say, "You're doing an excellent job," while the judge chuckled and said, "Thank you. I appreciate it." So again, this case going to the jury as soon as the end of this week. And it looks like the judge will get his wish that this case could come to an ultimate close with a verdict before the July 4th holiday here in New York.
So,
no bombshell, feds testimony.
No nothing. I think even some of the people, some of the witnesses, I think they called like 32 witnesses or something like that on to the stand throughout this whole case. And obviously, as I said, I think we were talking about the defense had none because they was like, these guys don't have a case. You know what I mean? You have to.
They're like, we're literally not defending anything because they haven't really brought anything up of substance.
Yep. You have to prove your case. I don't have to prove, my enemies. You know what I mean? You have to prove your case. And it's just like, I know they're looking at it. Everybody's looking at it like this is BS. I think that's pretty much been across the board, the public opinion, which doesn't matter. I get it.
Yeah.
Sway people. But across the board, people are looking at it like this is bull. He's a freaky dude.
Well, here's the thing. I think public opinion may have, again, I think you're right for a lot of people initially, but I think some people got to that point because I'm one of the people that got to that point that it was bull. Because I'm gonna tell you why. Initially, when they came in with Homeland freaking Security, who typically will not do anything unless they have something of substance to go on, or they know that once they go raid somewhere that they coming back with something.
Yeah.
That's what made it seem legitimate. That there's like, oh, there's something we don't know about.
Yeah. I think the powers that be kind of, because all you got to do is just make a phone call. When you're at these different positions and corporations, because as we know, corporations run this country for the most part. And it goes off of what we was talking about previously in terms of, wars and invasions and things like that. It's all based off of, corporate greed. But as we know, it's winning the hearts and minds of these countries. But anyway, but I think it's, you got somebody from a corporation just like, yo, go ahead and I need this to happen. And, those guys jump like that based upon their higher up. So it was all baby oil, man. Just baby oil and free coffee, and domestic violence stuff, which,
I mean, yeah, but I'm like, but it's some DV worth a big, huge federal case like this that, encompass all of these different departments and stuff. No, it didn't. Like that was to be held in a local New York, District of New York or California, wherever the stuff happened at, not for this big federal style case for some DV.
How much taxpayer dollars?
This was supposed to have been about weapons, illegally obtained unregistered weapons with serial numbers scratched off, moving minors across state lines, etc., etc. Hardcore federal stuff. This was what this was allegedly supposed to have been about, not freak offs and DV.
I'm gonna read to you what the prosecutor.
Morning, Kind Honey. How you doing, Kind Honey Rose, representing that Brick City. Our boys up there now. Shout out to the Murph man.
Oh, Murph's up in there?
Yep, I was supposed to send him a link when the show started, but I didn't get a thing, so I'm gonna look it up. But what you got going on over there?
Which one is Murph?
He's not in here now. I gotta send him the link.
You said he was. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna read to you the prosecutor's closing arguments, right?
Okay.
Well, some of them, but in summary, because I guess she took 4 hours doing this.
Okay.
Deliver these remarks. She outlined he's being charged with those 5 counts, which you kind of just said: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Those 3 of the 5 counts were they're trying to convict him on. 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, and the jury find that he knowingly transported an individual interstate or foreign commerce intended for that person to clap, intended for him to clap cheeks by flying some buns in. Because as a man, I guess you can't fly buns in.
Well, I thought I thought you were going to continue reading, and it was going to say that they were like 15 or something like that, or 16, but it didn't say that.
This is what it says. She said Combs paid for individuals to travel for sexual encounters with Cassie Ventura and Jane, aka such and such's baby mama, in several states and abroad, and outlined multiple examples to illustrate her point.
But again, if they're not underage, I don't understand why that's relevant.
You can't pay for buns, I guess. That's what you can't.
Okay. Well, there's that, but still, is this worth a federal case though?
Definitely not. Even if it was federal buns, right? You know what I'm saying? We talking about some federal buns. It's still a misdemeanor, man. So
they have to be not ripe yet.
Yeah,
they have to not be of age before you're talking about something big enough to be bringing on this type of a Fed case.
Exactly. Predicate act, right? Transportation of 304s is also a predicate act under the racketeering conspiracy charge. She added that there is significant evidence former chief of staff Christina Coram knew what was happening in the hotel rooms, facilitated travel for escorts, and ensured Combs received thousands of dollars in cash when he requested it during and after hotel nights to pay for these hoes, right? So this Coram knew exactly what was happening. Then she went into forced labor, saying that there's an element of racketeering conspiracy charge, telling the jury they heard evidence of forced labor involving several witnesses. She said Combs forced Ventura and Jane into grueling, days-long freak-offs without sleep qualifies as forced labor. So these 48 to 72-hour freak-offs is forced labor for clapping cheeks and doing drugs and getting wasted as forced labor.
I get it. This stuff just seems flimsy for the magnitude of a case that this was. Like, good luck. I'm curious to see how this plays out. I'm pretty sure they said that they'll be done with the deliberations. What, Thursday and Friday?
Yeah, today they are expecting, based off this headline here, they're saying today, because the defense doesn't have anything. You know, as she said.
Well, I thought they were saying by Thursday and Friday next week. They said
by the 4th. They should have a verdict. I think they said.
Yeah.
Wow, the deliberations with the jury. I'm sorry. Yeah, I missed that. Yeah, for the jury for sure. So they trying to get them with witness tampering as well and obstruction. After the lawsuit that Cassie filed in November, Combs turned to his inner circle to help neutralize those who could harm him the most, including 50's baby mama. Remember, Combs was denied bail 3 times after his arrest, as prosecutors allege he continued to obstruct the investigation.
Now,
go ahead.
Just the facts. Shout out to you this morning. Just the facts. In the comments says Diddy's lawyer is given the worst performance of all time. Diddy is done. This closing argument is horrible. So, contrary to what we kind of think, where it seems a little bit flimsy. Just the facts thinks Diddy is done. And I mean, I'm not saying that there's not stuff there, but I just don't know if Diddy's going to get, based on what you've read off so far, I just don't see where Diddy's going to get some kind of big time, sentencing with this. I don't think he's going to get dropped or, acquitted maybe per se all the way, but I don't think he's going to have some R. Kelly situation.
I think worst case, I agree with you. Worst case, they may convict him of one of those charges just to kind of like say for our pain and not for our pain and suffering, for our troubles. Right? For our troubles, we'll get him on, one count of forced labor or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Because these freak offs were so long, and these hoes, even though they got paid, these hoes and these escorts as well. It's just hoes too, but they had to work some additional overtime, and one man got ED. The Punisher got ED, so he had to get this operation, and I guess he's gonna get Diddy to, he gonna get Diddy to pay him back. For
oh God,
I think that's gonna be his angle, because he got that operation, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so the Punisher, and I'm gonna I'm just gonna segue a little sidebar because I watched this on Vlad's thing. He didn't say this, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna sue because he said it cost him $30,000. I didn't even know about this surgery, bro. Tell me if you knew about this surgery.
Bro, I was literally getting ready to say what surgery.
So And when I mentioned it, I want you to. That's what I guess that's what I was getting at. Once I tell you about it, let me know if you heard of it.
Okay.
There's a procedure. I guess it's been around for 20 something years.
Okay.
Where you can have an implant, and what I mean by implant, not to lengthen it or anything like that,
but just like on demand, you can like on demand that mug.
You press a button, and I'm not BSing either. This is what he described it. You press a button on your balls, right?
Y'all, you just made my side hurt,
bro. You press a button on your balls, and you massage real quick, and it stays on for as long as you want it to stay on. The most powerful joint you've ever had in your life, right? And then when you want it to go down, you press the button again, and it goes down.
It's like the old school Shaq pump shoes,
right?
Except it's like AI and mechanized. Go Gadget Johnson. Ding! That's what we doing.
He's like a bionic man, you know.
Go Gadget Johnson.
Yeah.
30 G's.
30 grand. He said, and he had it done in New York, and he said it cost him about 30 grand. So I think because he is, I think he has a lawsuit against Diddy because he's got ED now.
Yeah,
not anymore. Not anymore.
No, of course not, because now he go Gadget. But here's the thing, though. This is why I'm denying that shit if I'm a judge.
So you never heard of that?
I hadn't heard of it. Yeah. I hadn't heard of it. Mm-mm.
I was shocked. I didn't know they had something like that.
But I'm straight up. This is why in my line of thought, why I would straight up deny that.
Why would you?
Occupational hazard, bro. That's just a part of your job. That's what you do. And whether you was doing it for Diddy as a client or Joe Smo, Mo Smo, you was gonna be doing it anyway.
It was under duress.
Mm-hmm. It was under duress that you wanted to keep making that dollar. You was gonna want to keep making that dollar regardless. Oh, so no, that's part. No, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like I can't go sue you for a bunch of lug wrenches and air wrenches and stuff, and I'm a mechanic. No, that's a part of the stuff I have to buy to do my job. So if doing that with your body for long periods of time means that you have to reinforce it with bionics, that's just a part of your occupation.
Damn.
No, get out of here. You pay for your own Go Gadget Johnson. Good. Now, if you want to sue him for something else, then do that, but not for paying for stuff that's a part of your industry. That's a part of your industry.
But no, it wasn't a part of his industry.
Oh, was it?
He said he was just a dancer.
Okay, see, all right. So if you paint houses, okay, and then you get your real estate license and you begin to sell houses,
okay,
you made that decision to move to make that lateral or however kind of move you want to say within a related industry, right? You could have kept dancing, correct? You could have kept painting houses. Who made that decision to take it to the other level to turn into the Punisher? You did. So again, your choice, occupational hazard. You pay for your own Go Gadget Johnson.
Damn. So he don't got to. Damn. So you would shoot
pivot. Thank you, Just the Facts.
Yeah.
You pivoted from dancing to romancing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. But
out of here.
But that's what's up. You know, just that sidebar on the Punisher. You know, that's what he's got going on.
That's nice though.
Yeah. For you to, till you die, you'll have the most powerful joint. You die, bro.
Yo, I'm like, hell, Bezos, all of them might have one.
You're right. I mean, it's pretty common from what he said.
All of them. I'm like, if it's 30 stacks, they like, shoot, I could buy them for the whole fam. All my sons got them.
He said he got his
all
dad.
My sons got them.
He said he got his dad one.
I'm done. See what I'm saying?
No, he did. That's what he said. He said he got his dad one. He said he was telling his dad, and I think he said his dad's like 70 something. Because he's like, I think he's in his 50s now, I think. And he told his dad's like, I'm not doing that. Then he told his dad he was performing. And his dad
Go Gadget Johnson for everybody. If you got 30 stacks, and the sad part about it, you know how things go. Price is only gonna come down. They're gonna be 10 after a while. Everybody gonna be running around Go Gadget.
Yeah, for sure, man. But shout out to bro. But
shout out. I would have tried it too. I try to get it. They might give it to him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I wouldn't. Get out of here.
Everything, live trial updates, Trial updates. Defense says complicated relationship was great modern love story. So that's all in all, man. I'm gonna get off this because I don't want to make this whole thing, even though that's the main topic of this. I feel like, and I think a lot of people feel like it was just to humiliate this man, embarrass him, way it would destroy his legacy and name. You know what I mean? Because none of this stuff, all this is BS, in my opinion.
I mean, it's kind of looking like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Compared to a lot of the other stuff, the Epsteins and the Kells and stuff, this is seeming pretty watered down compared to those trials.
For sure. So. Yeah. So what else we got, QT Dub? What else we got in the news, man?
Well, of course, you know, the last time we were on here was all about the strikes, the bunker busters that we laid down on Iran, and Monday it had just happened, like 24 hours before that. And so we didn't know what was going to happen, what kind of fallout, what was going on, what the market was going to look like, what oil and gas was going to look like, et cetera, et cetera. And now we are basically at the end of the week, and we're, you know, seeing what a lot of this stuff looks like, how it shook out. So, matter of fact, let me pull up the good old S&P 500 right quick, which is the go-to representative index for most people. What's going on in the markets here? And so through the week, the market actually did the opposite of what we were expecting Monday, which was it actually rallied, and it's for a couple of reasons. And oil actually tanked. So S&P this morning, right now, it's only been open for like an hour, so it's ticking up 0.25%. But reasons for it. Let me go to I'm gonna share some stuff here. All right. One of the reasons that the market has rallied this week as opposed to going down as some people thought it was going to do is because of the Strait of Hormuz. So are you familiar with that? I know you over in that area, you know what I'm saying? I know you in the neck of the woods all the time. Hold on, gotta get the right one up here. In the Middle East a lot. Of course, you're not over in Iran. You're usually over in Dubai and stuff.
Right.
But you got the Straits of Hormuz. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Let's see. Hormuz, I think. Hopefully I'm not mispronouncing that. But the Strait of Hormuz is a strait where a lot of oil flows through. And initially, people thought that one of the retaliation tactics was that Iran was going to close it. And that was, of course, going to drive up the price of crude oil. Well, they ended up not doing that. And one of the big reasons why is because they get a lot of their own food through that strait. And also the rest of the region gets a lot of materials through that strait, and they would have ended up, you know, creating even more hostility in the region. So the fact that now it doesn't look like they have to worry about that strait getting closed is why the market right now isn't concerned about. Well, no, I'm sorry. That's the reason why the barrels of oil have actually dropped as opposed to going up after the conflict. Now, the reason why the market overall has gone up has been because basically Wall Street doesn't think Iran's going to do anything. Besides the little lackluster retaliation on what was a base in Qatar, I think, where they actually gave us / the US notice that they were going to do it. There was no, troops or whatever there. It was basically to save face, you know what I'm saying, for the, own people or whatever, whatnot. What up, Eminem? Basically, they think that's the extent of the retaliation. They think that, now the negotiation, the ceasefire stuff is going to, take place. So my point is the market has responded by thinking that there's not really going to be a significant threat of retaliation from Iran. And the tech sector has had a big rally. NVIDIA, with their AI development. So not worrying about threats from Iran, and some of the tech stocks having a good boom last week had an uptick in the market instead of it going down. And they had the opposite effect with the oil. Oil prices ended up going down because there's not a threat of the Strait of Hormuz getting closed up. Now, That's the economic part about it. We've been hearing still a lot of political stuff about the strikes on both sides of the aisle, mainly because a lot of people on both sides, Democrats and hardcore MAGA people, didn't want to get drug into another forever war. Right. So as long as it looks like there's not going to be any kind of significant retaliation, then it looks like we probably won't be in a forever war. The only other things that people are debating about was how effective the strikes were. And did we get the quote unquote bang for our buck, sending the bombers over? And did we quote unquote obliterate, because that's the term everybody has been kind of debating over, because the administration has been coming out and claiming total obliteration of Iran's nuclear capability, while some other people are saying somewhere between damaged to severely damaged, but not obliterated. So I want to share a clip that kind of got Pete Hegseth and some Fox News people, not CNN, not MSNBC, but wordplay, Eminem, but Fox News people kind of in a tizzy, and it's all about, the status of the attack and how successful it actually was. So we're gonna go to Snowflake of Defense, Secretary of State of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and his response to some questions, literally just one question really, about the strike. But let me share that with you, make sure I got the right one here. All right, sharing again, stop that one, present another one. All right, let's check out. We got a bunch of windows up in here. Here we are. All right.
All right.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's about highly enriched uranium. Do you have certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside the Fordo Mountain, or some of it? Because there were satellite photos that showed more than a dozen trucks there 2 days in advance. Are you certain none of that highly enriched uranium was moved?
Of course, we're watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst, the one who misrepresents the most intentionally what the president says. I'm familiar.
About the ventilation shafts on Saturday night, and in fact, I was the first to describe the B-2 bomb, the refueling, the entire mission with great accuracy. So I take issue with that.
I appreciate you acknowledging that this was the first the most successful mission based on operational security that this department has done since you've been here, and I appreciate that. So we're looking at all aspects of intelligence and making sure we have a sense of what was.
Okay. So as you can see, all she did was ask if we were sure that the bombings were successful, and you saw how he ended up responding. And the interesting part about this is two things at play. Number one, his response is an extension almost of how the great one would respond, because he lashes out at the media, usually not at Fox people, but now it's actually going over into Fox people in that manner. So by design, Pete's doing what he's quote unquote supposed to do, you know what I'm saying, as far as the administration is concerned. The other thing that I noticed though with him is that, and this is just for me, it's a little bit cringe, is that he over and over again has to hype up how successful this was in all-time history. Like, how many military exercises and missions and stuff we had in all history? Like, he keeps saying that over and over again, and it's almost like it's this dear leader thing. Like, he has to make sure that he props up and compliments our dear leader enough times. But anyway, let's check out how some Fox people actually responded to, as Eminem said, Hennessy Hegseth's lashing out at their fellow reporter. So let me let's pull this one up right quick. Make sure I have the right one.
And shout out to Is. Give some shout outs while you're doing that.
Yeah.
Rose, it's me, Little C. Shout out Eminem, Johnny Porter, T-Man. Shout out to all y'all.
All right. There we go. You got me?
Got it.
All right.
And international issues. At the Pentagon today, things got downright chaotic when the defense secretary took on reporters.
Facts, Eminem. Cool.
Because
what branch, bro?
You, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because
I'm sorry, and I'm gonna back it up, but I'm just going back to what I was saying before. Watch how this is an extension of what the president would do with one of these pressers, and watch how Hegseth looks down to read, meaning that he prepared this tirade on the media. He prepared it before he had gotten there. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
It's all of these important Middle East and international issues. At the Pentagon today, things got downright chaotic when the
Shout out
defense
Navy.
secretary
That's my boys
took
in the
on
Navy.
reporters.
Army here. Who?
because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard. It's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump because you want him not to be successful so bad. You have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective.
Now, that's a major allegation. That press room that he is admonishing is full of Pentagon reporters who do some of the toughest reporting out there. People who have experience dealing with intelligence, military affairs, some people who end up going abroad sometimes, or their colleagues who serve in war zones where many reporters have lost their lives. So saying without evidence that they are just hoping that something doesn't work or rooting against the country that they are a citizen of, the U.S., is a major charge when you think about it. Even in this time where people are used to the rhetoric, it is downright Nixonian. And there is a debate over just how successful this initial Iran strike was. Journalists are going to cover that. Some of the debate is coming from inside the Trump administration because, again, it's the intelligence they oversee that had a leak that said maybe this was not as effective, obliterating everything as the president had claimed.
His own intelligence.
And yet, let's remember, across our coverage, there are plenty of experts who say that containing Iran at all or setting back the nuclear program at all is, from a general U.S. and safety perspective, a positive. We've heard that from experts.
Yo, these were sold out everywhere.
Really? They're not sold off on Skip Land.
Trying to tear Trump down, man. Trying to tear a brother down. You know.
Let me see here. Okay. All right. Now, it was two reasons, but of course they're saying there was some conflicting with the intelligence as far as knowing if it was actually obliterated or not. All right. There are two main reasons for this. Number one, what kind of three? Number one, it's not like you can go in and expect and know for sure. That was one of the reasons, like for the past 20 years, like even in the first Gulf War or whatnot, when they were focusing on Iran and their enrichment, it was that the UN couldn't properly go in and inspect to see what they were actually doing. So it's the same case now. They can't actually have eyes in to know exactly. Okay. The second reason is because they had satellite images of 24 to 48 hours prior to of convoys leaving some of the facilities, wondering if they got some of their materials out of there before the bombs went down. The third reason that they're wondering about if these sites were actually obliterated or not is because of, I'm gonna do another share here. I had not heard of this, but it's some concrete that Iran has that they've developed that may have withstood the 30,000 pound bunker busters. And I'll share that with you because it's actually, gives us, goes into detail of what this concrete is and what it possibly meant.
Wow. People want to know.
See, look in the comments. Yep, damage assessment in quick. Like shout out to Eminem and Luck Tuxes. Can't answer calls right now. Was it 20,000 PSI concrete? Did I share yet?
Yeah, you shared it. Shout out. I'm about to play it. Shout out to
Oh, okay.
Imminent ATL for the $10 super chat. Add a little change
Bro,
to the collection plate. Shout
shout
out.
out, sir.
Yeah,
Eminem, a day oneer, man. Appreciate you, dog.
indeed.
Where's my page so I can look at it? Okay, here we are. All right. The U.S. military used MOPs, massive ordnance penetrators, massive 30,000-pound bombs to strike key Iranian nuclear sites, including Fordo fuel enrichment plant and the Natanz nuclear facility and the Isfahan. I should have you doing this, JR. Nuclear Technology Center, according to Popular Mechanics report. The Pentagon operations marks the first ever use of MOPs, which can only be carried by B-2 stealth bombers, and it can only be and it has been considered the only country capable of destroying Iran's underground nuclear facilities. But whether it actually accomplished this feat is still unclear, as per report. All right. As my man was saying, damage assessment uncertain. And we already talked about that. I want to get into why it's uncertain. All right. Decades old arm race. Come on, man. Come on, Mr. Stupid Mouse. Decades old arm race. Concrete versus bombs. In the late 2000s, a bunker busting bomb failed to penetrate an Iranian bunker due to Iran's advancements in ultra high performance concrete, UHPC. So if you hadn't heard about this before, which I hadn't, and somebody starts talking about this topic and, in the debate of whether it was obliterated or not, well, you got 2 points of facts you can bring up. Satellite images of materials being moved out of some of these facilities 24 to 48 hours prior to, and this ultra, whatever this stuff is. What was it? What did they call it?
Let me see here.
I got so many boxes open. I keep losing them. Whatever. This crazy concrete.
Right.
I gotta close all these boxes. But but my thing is I feel like overall it probably is a positive. I mean, it's not like we hadn't been talking about this for decades. Especially if there isn't any widespread retaliation. My only thing though is I'm hoping over the next 3 years that we don't have to be involved in anything significant though, because your boy at the helm, Hexif, I'm talking about, is not going to work. Like he's too much of a part-timer at everything. He's a part-time soldier, he's a part-time freaking reporter. Like the only thing he's been full-time at is getting drunk. And so like if we have to be involved in anything of serious significance, I don't really know how adequate we're going to be at it, to be honest. And I definitely don't know how well he's going to address a press corps when you have to, give the people information about conflicts we may or may not be involved in. No, Eminem. Pete Hegseth is the very definition of hiring the best people.
So you said he's part-time soldier, part-time reporter, and you said drunk. What do you call him, a drunk?
Full-time drunk.
Full-time drunk.
That's the only thing he does. That's the only thing. I mean, the track record, his resume is the only thing he's shown to have done full-time is to be a drunkard.
Damn.
I mean, he was in the Guard. I didn't even see, most people in the Guard or the Army Reserves, they go there after they did their, regular duty.
Right.
I think he was a straight guarder. Part-time. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, I didn't, when has a career National Guard person been the Secretary of freaking Defense and a major at that?
Right. Yeah.
Not
major.
a general, a freaking major. You can make major in your sleep, bro. You're a second lieutenant with a college degree.
Yep. But
anyway, man, I'm not even gonna keep going off on Mr. Heck, because if somebody offered it to you, you take it.
Hey, I mean, I guess
that's what I'm saying. The Donald shoot me an email and was like, "Oh, Pete fell dead. You was in the National Guard. Want to be? Yep, I'll take it.
We're gonna take it, baby.
Yep,
let's take it."
And I'll say, "You press people get on my nerves." Yep. Show me the money.
Yeah. But yeah, this, I guess people be wanting to know. They want to know what's really going on. Was this all staged? You know, because some people were trying to say it was staged. You know, the strikes. You know that. You know, you got the cameras out here that happen to be at these locations. You know what I mean?
Some of the things came through. I saw some of that footage. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know I sent you a video, which was obviously strikes from you know, examples of those strikes that were occurring. And yo, that's no joke, man. That's no joke. Just imagine just walking down the street
at the market,
and just this building like straight out of a movie. You just going off, man. So at this point, man, they talking about a ceasefire, and some are saying there isn't, and it's like, what the hell is really going on? You know, what is going on? So that's the question, because you're hearing so many conflicting stories, and it's just like, you know.
And the thing is, that you see, with your boy so thin-skinned, you can't ask him anything without him going off. You're like, well, sorry, man, we just asking questions that people want to know.
Right. Makes Supreme Leader makes first public statement that Israel ceasefire. So it said it's holding 18 hours ago. I guess that's the latest. The conflict. CNN is covering it. Hey, man. You know, I guess as long as it don't, you know, people, if it doesn't affect you directly, a lot of times they just like, as long as it doesn't come over here, we're fine with whatever goes on over there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think it's vice versa with a lot of the folks over there. You know, but I want to switch lanes real quick, man, because I saw a few stories.
Okay.
In reference to back on the ICE situation going on. And I saw some things that are interesting, because I know we addressed this in the past in terms of ICE deporting U.S. citizens. Or excuse me, ICE,
visa, green card holders, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
not deport, but detaining them. Yeah,
detaining U.S. citizens, and this administration deporting U.S. citizens. So I saw something that kind of affects my family, for lack of a better term, which is interesting. I'm gonna pull this story up. There's a so you know, and for those of you guys who don't know, when you're in the military and you have children abroad, and it's on a military installation, or you know, an affiliation of a military, if you're stationed in that country and you have children over there, they're considered U.S. citizens, because the base or whatever have you, if they're born off base, as long as you're stationed there, they get U.S. citizenship. You know what I mean? And in the case, 2 of my sons were born in Germany, right, on a Landstuhl base. I can't remember what it was. It's an army base, I'm pretty sure. Right there in Kaiserslautern area. You know, Landstuhl is actually a little town, but yeah, that was one of the major medical centers during the war in Iraq, OEF and OIF, excuse me, that they would transport casualties to. It's in Landstuhl. So both, you know, 2 of my sons were born there. So there's a story of this guy. Let me pull it up here so I can get his name here. That we can pull the article up. Jermaine Thomas. I guess he's Jamaican, or his parents were Jamaican. One of his parents were Jamaican. Jermaine Thomas deported. Okay, here we go. All right, KTLA. Let's go ahead and share this one, because this is the first time I heard this. You know, we were born on a military installation. I wonder if there's some other stuff going on here. But all right, can we see it?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Son of U.S. soldier born on army base in Germany, deported to Jamaica. So Good Buddy was born on an army base in Germany back in '86. You know, 37 years old. His dad was Jamaican. He became a U.S. citizen during his 18-year military career. Spent much of his early life moving from base to, you know, with his father, like a lot of us do. And the latter, his mother was Kenyan. So at 11 years after his parents' divorce, his mother's second marriage to another soldier, he went to live with his father in Florida. Father passed away in 2010 from kidney failure shortly after. And he spent much more of his time in Texas, homeless, in and out of jail. So I'm about to see It said it's unclear when he was first ordered to leave the country, but court records from 2015 show a case that went all the way to Supreme Court in which U.S. Department of Justice argued that he was not a citizen simply because he was born on a U.S. Army base in Germany. So I thought it was weird because it's showing right here, right now, Buddy got deported to Jamaica based off his father being Jamaican. And he's terrified in a hotel. You know, from what I'm seeing on this other thing right here, they swooped in.
Mm-hmm.
He got into some trouble in Texas, and they came and got his ass while he was, I guess, in jail, and got his ass up out of there. Now he's stuck in a hotel in Jamaica, confused, scared, and with no idea what's next. He doesn't know the country, doesn't speak patois, and isn't even sure how long he can stay. He called it a slap in the face to his father's military service. So my thing is, when your children are born there, there's a record of the consulate, right? It's a different type of birth certificate that shows that you were born abroad. You know, you got your citizenship and documentation, and they can track all this stuff like that. So I don't know what happened. You know,
it's not a you don't know what happened. You see what happened. The Department of Justice argued. Their argument is that he is not a citizen just because he was born on an army base. Although that has been the freaking practice for a trillion decades, that is their argument today. That is their argument today.
That's insane. I never heard that, bro, till today. I
now,
never heard that.
Here's the caveat that's inside of this story that's giving them this leeway. My man stayed in trouble too fucking much.
Right.
Because that's what they're doing now. Because it's like, remember, criminals.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get rid of criminals, remember? You're a criminal.
That's still crazy as hell though, man. So
one thing I know it's crazy. I'm just talking about how this is being applied. It's like this is fine. We're getting rid of the criminals, right? This is what we all voted for,
right? So you were in the military once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're if your daughter at the time was born yet.
Mm-hmm.
So when there's a system called DEERS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you put your dependents in, and especially if you have children overseas.
Okay.
You have to have documentation. They have to have a passport.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be over there just willy-nilly and just say, just like in the military, you're fine. You don't need a passport.
On the base, yeah.
Yeah. Your ID card is your passport, right? But if you have children, they have to have a passport, bro. They have to. Both my sons had to get a passport. And like I said, this is 86, so maybe things were different, but I don't see it being too much more different. Back then, or even when I was there, this was like 2002. In order to be there, an ID card isn't going to suffice for the dependents, right? So you had to go through you use the birth certificate
to get the passport. I'm sure Buddy has one
locally, and your passport proves that you're a U.S. citizen because it's a U.S. passport, right? He's not going to get a German passport. You know what I mean? So it's just I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other things. It's weird that he's saying all this. Because here, this is what it says on here, which isn't on this story. I'm gonna read this.
Morning, Baba Joe.
That's what happened to 37-year-old Jermaine Thomas. He was born in Germany while his dad was stationed there with the U.S. Army, but because of a weird technicality, the U.S. never gave him citizenship, and Germany didn't either. So he got into a little legal trouble in Texas, just a misdemeanor. ICE swooped in and deported him to Jamaica. Okay, now I do have a problem with this with parents. They get their citizenship, but they don't bother to do it for their children.
And
that's what happened with my ex-wife.
Huh? Oh, no, I'm saying I'm making sure it was completely done. Right. Obviously, it wasn't.
My ex-wife, her parents they became U.S. citizens, but her and her brother wasn't.
Oh,
and he didn't. So she joined the military with a green card, right? And once she was in, that's when they really started having that pathway to
citizens, full citizenship,
soldiers to whatever it was called back then. But yeah, she had a green card when she joined the military. So it's a lot of parents I hear of doing stuff like that, man, where they never bother to get their kids straight, but they're straight. You know what I'm saying? Which is unfortunate, that my man, you basically don't have any, so they automatically determine that you're Jamaican based off your father. Even though, you know what I mean? So wow, bro. Yeah, that's a hell of a thing.
Morning, Charles. Charles said he only needed an ID for his son and wife in Germany in '85.
And that's what I was getting at. It probably was different back then, where you could have. They probably didn't have the same thing. When I was there, you had to have
and I got you. Demetrius says in 2003 they made them get passports because of the war.
Yeah, my son was born in 02 and one was born in 03.
Okay,
that could have been around. They probably were making it happen then when I was in Germany. But that's hopefully the best, man. They work that shit out, because where is he gonna get citizenship at? You know what I'm saying?
He's literally like you see it in movies. It's like it's a man without a country.
Man without a country. There you go, man. In other news too, man. Speaking of ICE, bro. We talked about previously how they were saying you can take your butt to the local, you can self-deport, which close to 1 million people they estimated had
that went ahead and did that. Yeah.
So right now they're trying to put it in place. I was reading this story about they're giving you 30. I'll have to go back to it. Bottom line is, if you're here past the time frame or whatever, I don't know how they'll track it. They're gonna fine you $1,000 a day.
Wow.
Every day that you stay here, when you were told, once that they implement that officially, I guess. I have to go back to that story though, where it says the official date where they implemented that this policy or whatever.
That you can self-deport.
Yeah, which I'm pulling up the story here. So it's a new proposal. The government can begin charging people who are in the U.S. illegally up to $1,000 per day if they didn't leave after being ordered to by a judge. Right now, there's a 30-day grace period before fines kick in, but that will be eliminated if this new rule goes into effect. Fines can be as high as $10,000 for those who stay after being told to leave.
Okay.
What happens if you don't get your money though?
You see, I'm like, okay.
Are they gonna force you in a work camp or something? You know what I'm saying, to get their money back?
Which was why you were here in the first place.
Right.
I
see that. Yeah, I see that one, man. That was good. Why you was here in the first place and shit.
Why you were here in the first place.
Goodness.
It's funny that you bring that up, because I've been seeing a lot of stories about Texas farms like being in jeopardy now over this.
For sure.
Because again, so many people did buy the whole criminals thing. So a lot of people in good faith, because I'm like, who wouldn't think it's a good idea to get rid of criminals that's not supposed to be here?
Yeah.
Some people, including Republicans, did believe that, functioning, immigrants that help in some said industries, if they didn't have records or were trying to be on the path and, being identified, blah, 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 that they would be okay. And now we see that the execution has been absolute. Like, we don't care about any of that stuff. And particularly I saw in Texas, some farms are having some serious problems, like almost having to shut down and facing almost bankruptcy over this. So the thing I'm wondering about is they're coming up with all of these, self-deporting programs, and these penalties if you don't self-deport are $10,000, dollars a day, and blah, 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 blah. Well, what are you doing for these people that voted for you that are about to be in economic duress? Because these people can only eat the fervor of build that wall and all of that stuff for so long. After a while, boots are going to have to hit the road. And all of that feeling good about this otherism stuff and feeling better than somebody else, you're not going to be able to digest that for too long.
Yeah, you
And when
can't.
those farmers can't pick stuff for days, that costs them crazy money.
Yep.
And then it in turns, it limits how many people that can supply your local grocer, which limits how much supply they have, which makes what? The price go up.
And just start importing more goods. You know what I mean? Which, if that's the case, but you're right. They don't know about the trenches. It sounds good, like you said, but those people in the trenches that's actually running these farms and need these workers, this illegal workforce that's doing it, you know.
Because a lot of times we just hear about California and their
Yep.
agricultural, landscape
Florida.
depending heavily, on undocumented workers, and they're blue, but Texas is red as hell, and they seem to do the same thing, and they're having the same results. So
For
it's
sure.
not a red and blue thing as far as the effects of this. It's purple. It's all of us.
Yeah. Something's gonna have to come to a head, man.
It is,
Good.
because we ain't doing it.
That exactly, unless they try to implement some new shit. You know what I'm saying?
We got a new farmer draft. All dark
Yeah.
people are drafted to the
All the
farm.
dark
Wait,
people.
what?
Yeah, because we can't. We not about to be doing that. That's not happening.
They're like, yes, y'all are. It's a draft.
Mm-hmm.
Feed the nation.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
It's the Feed the Nation draft.
Or start doing something, like these other countries, right? And since we were talking about the Middle East earlier,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which, the production, their main source there of income is, is going to be petroleum, but you
Mhm.
also have a lot of these places who is tourism is becoming a big thing now, but that's backed up by the petroleum.
Mm-hmm.
So you got places who they import 95% of their workforce, right? 99% of their workforce, and these are people from quote unquote third world countries.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say UAE, for example, which is where Dubai is located. United Arab Emirates.
Emirates, yep.
Every place, you're not really going to find a local national or an Emirati working too many regular jobs, even like whether it's, I'm pretty sure you got attorneys and things like that going on, but you're not really going to have most Emiratis working regular day-to-day jobs that we have to function for society, right? That are required for the infrastructure and whatnot. So most of these jobs are imported from third world countries, right? From the Indians, the Filipinos, the Bangladeshis, whatever you call it. Most of these are the places where they're importing people from.
Okay.
That's just to name a few. I'm pretty sure I missed some others.
Yeah, but I get what you're talking about.
Those are the top three for sure. And Pakistan, excuse me.
And this is where they get quote unquote workers for the jobs that they don't do. Yeah.
Now, from the restaurants to the taxis to the cleaning to all these different things, you're not going to see an Emirati working any of these jobs that you see. Hotel staff, whatever.
Yeah.
Building stuff, you're not going to see that. So unless we have our own workforce problem here. You know what I'm saying? So we got our own homelessness. Obviously, that they don't have homelessness over there like that. But we have our own issues, so that's not really a viable thing in terms of importing and incentivizing it, because obviously there's incentives for importing these workforce, for lack of a better term. It's because it's insourcing, I guess. Outsourcing.
Insourcing.
Because I would when I think of insourcing, I'm thinking of people from your own country, but that's not true. Okay. Whatever the term is, insourcing.
Because you got to think about it when you outsource a call center,
right?
When you're like, thank you for calling AT&T. This is Steve. No, it's not Steve, but yeah, okay. So I outsource that.
That's correct.
But if I bring that in,
yeah.
But
okay.
Anyway, but like you said, we're gonna have to get some people from other places to do the jobs that their citizens don't do.
Because those are the two major ones you listed, right? You listed Texas, California. I know Florida's one, obviously, but we're just looking at a lot of the South. You got North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia that has farms. You got a lot of the Midwest that has farms and things like that. And a lot of these, you got single family owned farms and things like that. But a lot of the workers, again, bruh,
And the thing is you can't AI, you can't, as of right now, you can't AI your way out of
Hell no.
farming.
Hell no. We were just talking about that the other day.
Yeah, that's more like right now. I mean, like AI can help you, with the efficiency of what to plant, when, and soil quality and air and all of that stuff. But as far as actually picking, pruning, and stuff, yeah, AI can't help you with that. You still need some humans.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're still pretty far off, even though with the technology we have that's picking, planting, watering, all those things. You still need those human hands.
Yeah, because even trying to make bots to do that, it's not going to be cost effective to
not at all.
Bots to do something like that.
Tossing fruit, handling watermelons,
exactly.
Cotton, the cows and shit, the pigs,
he's like, I don't pull the whole udder off.
Exactly. It's curtains.
Killed the cow.
Yeah, it's curtains. Yeah, man. But that's all, man. But moving on, bro. We got a pretty interesting entertainment week. Me and you were talking about this offline about Ironheart. Did you
I got to get your review because I hadn't put my own eyeballs on it. I just been seeing the reviews and I think I sent you that one guy. When I saw Ironheart was coming out, he was who I had in my head because that's all he does is trash any movies with female or people of color leads. And I knew he was salivating for Lionheart to come out. And I don't know if you saw it when I sent it to you. It was like he had posted it like 9 hours ago or whatever. Okay? Of course, he couldn't wait, and it had 1 trillion, likes on it because it's an audience of people that like dumping on these movies and movies / and/or shows, and it could be worth the dump. I don't know. That's why I asked you. I'm curious to put eyeballs on it myself. Anybody else seen it in the chat?
Yeah, chime in if you've seen it in the chat. So I didn't think it was too bad, man. Just the premise of it, which without giving too much away. In the beginning, she gets kicked out of MIT for plagiarism. Based upon Tony Stark or Stark Tech or something like that.
Okay.
Like I said, I was washing dishes and doing some other stuff, and you just had it playing and just, looking at the TV every now and then.
Charles.
And, she loses that scholarship or whatever it was she had. And she ends up getting recruited by, this group of folks here that you see below on those pictures. These pictures underneath the main ones, you see the character that Puerto Rican dude. He's in a lot of stuff.
He was in the last Transformers movie. He was in the last Twisters movie. Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, Godzilla.
Yeah.
He was in there. He was in that Spike Lee musical, whatever. I think that's where.
Something Brooks, The Heights.
Yeah, so I think that's where he debuted.
Okay, I think that was Manuel, the dude that did Hamilton. I think that was one of his joints or something. But anyway,
I know he was in there.
He's been making moves.
Yeah, he was dressed like how Spike Lee was dressed with the glasses and the Jordans. Or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, you got this. Like I said, it's an LGBTQ style. They got a lot of that in there. So you got this person right here, Shea Coulee.
Okay.
Who's on the team. It's like a team of crackers and
safe crackers
and safe crackers and those who are like basically scamming and doing stuff like that, what I mean? But they released the first 3 episodes. It's like some magic. This dude wears a cape and there's a story behind that. So it's just getting into it. AI, she having her AI just like the dude was making fun. So it's me just having to get into it, bro. I had to go back. I went through all 3 episodes, like kind of like paying attention, but Buddy's the leader and he's like, I guess, supposed to be the antagonist. You know what I mean?
At the end of the day. So she doesn't stay with the squad for long, apparently.
Right. I'm assuming that's where it's going at, you know what I mean? So but yeah, first 3 episodes are out. I guess the next one's coming out next week. And we gotta I think we were talking about, was it Megan? Megan's out.
Oh, Megan 2.0. Yeah, I think it's at the theaters though. And before we go over to Megan 2.0, just one other thing on Lionheart and kind of like Marvel, in general, and not just Marvel, but anybody. one of two things are going to have to happen with these, because of course you're always going to have this group that's going to review bomb all of these things regardless of how good / and or bad they might be, right? Just on the GP of we hate girls and we hate anything that doesn't look like us getting any time. Marvel and certain other people are going to be forced to not make any of these anymore because the core demographic that they're trying to go after doesn't support it.
Right.
So comic books and comic book movies and comic entertainment is already has a niche male-centric audience.
Right.
Right. And then on top of that, while a lot of us people of color do consume it, it's heavily consumed by white males. It's not a problem. It's just that is who the biggest part of that demographic is. If you're going to sway away and give something to another demographic, that demographic is going to have to support it. And time again, they have not. And this goes all the way to the WNBA. Especially our sisters, they didn't support anything had anything to do with WNBA until it came a time to defend Angel against Caitlin Clark. And then that was when all of a sudden they started knowing about obscure basketball stats and all kinds of other stuff. But leading up until then, they couldn't tell you the last time they went to a game because they didn't go to it.
Right.
They couldn't tell you the last time they watched one on TV because they didn't watch them. So the thing is, when Marvel or whoever gets ready to introduce one of these things, you gotta go look at it. If you're the demographic that they're trying to go after, or they're gonna have to stop making them.
Yeah, they're gonna have to show out like Black Panther, basically.
But I think kind of the lesson to this is that it's not that women aren't worthy and aren't capable of holding their own in these types of projects, is that their core demographic they're not interested. And I think what happens is Marvel is trying to make their core demographic, which I just pointed out is majority white guys. They're trying to make them consume this product, and instead they're pushing it so far away that the reviews and stuff get bombed to where now anybody neutral may not even watch it because Rotten Tomatoes is at 29%.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna look at that.
Why am I gonna look at it?
But again, you got a bunch of guys that didn't even look at it all the way, just going, oh yeah, a little black girl can code. Oh yeah, LBGT. Oh yeah.
The stepdad isn't that the usual? No dad involved.
Exactly, that stuff.
Yeah.
So again, if and we can't make the ladies go look at it. If they're not interested in it, they're not interested in it. So if they're not, you're gonna have to quit making it. Because you see, the only thing that does well is like Wonder Woman, and she's in a effing bikini.
Sex sells for sure.
Gal Gadot running around in a bikini for 2 hours. They're like, check yes on that.
Check yes.
But a girl looking like Raleigh in a mech suit, they like, no, I don't identify with that. It's not eye candy for me. It's whack.
From the south side of Chicago.
Yeah. So
and a bunch of hip hop music. Yeah.
So yeah, I got to check it out for myself to see if it, the reviews are on par or not. But I doubt it. I have a feeling it probably is a pretty decent look. But the thing is, like you said, I mean, the demographic that they're after, like, really, to be honest, this should have been one of the best released series of almost all time, no matter how bad it was, just for the fact, like you said, it has a high representation of the LGBT community. Where were you guys at when it's the first 3 damn episodes?
I think that's the problem too, because it's.
But again, they're like, hey, we watch freaking Drag Race.
Yeah.
We're not into pew pew pew. We're into shoes. So thank you for the consideration, but and I'm not saying that there's no LGBT, community people that like comic book, movies and games and whatnot, but apparently it's not enough of them. And it's not enough black women either.
Yeah.
And so now all you got left are a bunch of people that don't see themselves in the product complaining about it.
I can see that, man. We'll see what happens after this one. You know what I mean? Because I know Don Cheadle was supposed to have his with War Machine, the Iron Wars, which I think I'm assuming they canceled that. But I'm just assuming at this point. But obviously what's on the horizon next is the Fantastic Four, which is a month from now. It'll be premiering, and Superman is in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
On the 11th. Yeah, on the 11th, if I'm not mistaken, which is 2 weeks from today. So yeah, but Megan's in theaters now. How did you say it? You said it another way. Did I
hear Megan a lot.
Okay, well, Megan, excuse me. I never watched the first one, so I don't know how to pronounce the name. Sorry, guys. Megan 2.0.
I don't think it matters. She's gonna kill you.
Yeah. And that F1 movie with Brad Pitt and a few other Damson Idris. Speaking of Damson Idris, supposedly, allegedly, they're saying that he may be the next, which there's been rumors for a while, but they asked him the other day about him being the next Black Panther in Black Panther 3.
Oh, okay.
You know, Denzel is obviously connected to Black Panther.
I did see that. I think he got leaked by accident.
Right. Well, he leaked it. He said he wasn't supposed to. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to on Gladiator.
That's what it was.
But yeah, that's what's coming up for sure on the horizon. As we know, they're already filming Avengers Doomsday right now. So who knows how long that'll be filming and when they'll make it to Atlanta. But
I saw something about Majors might be Kang again. I'm like, why do they going back and forth on that so much? I'm like, I mean, it makes sense. I don't think they should have ever taken it from him in the first place, but whatever.
Yeah, I think he's gonna probably next year be his year, man. They just had to let things cool off. It's like Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean? He changed. After just doing all the drugs in the world, back and forth to prison, jail or whatever. So yeah, I think they just letting it cool off for a bit, man. And he's gonna get his chance, man. But in the gaming world, though, I'm still on this Resident Evil tip. They did a review of it. I saw it was Japanese guys, obviously, because they're the creators and producers. They did I don't even want to call it a review, but that's what it said when I watched it this morning. And they were showing more footage of it, and I think they might just be trying to keep Leon a secret.
That's what I saw. Still speculating on whether Leon was.
They didn't say anything about it. They were like, "Yeah, we just didn't think that it would be good because Leon wouldn't be. We're trying to make this more of a horror game,
and Leon's not a good fit for horror.
Yeah, he's not a good fit. So, but I think he's. It has to be. I don't think you're gonna go back to Raccoon City and not have Leon or, them bringing a bunch of other people out.
I was gonna say even Chris, maybe Chris or Jill, all of them, the old school Raccoon Cityers.
Right. I mean, it could be. Who knows? Or even with DLC, man. But it would definitely be a good look. I don't know what else is on the horizon coming up, man, other than we already discussed it. But that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yep.
We'll stretch this out too long. What else we missed, man? Didn't we cover? I know we wanted to talk about some Atlanta stuff, but the dude that smoked somebody over honey, his uncle, was it uncle? His uncle.
Oh, was that here? I didn't even know if that was here. I thought that was funny. I forgot about that.
Oh, my bad. I thought it was, but
it might have been. I couldn't remember. Yeah, that was that. I just thought that was wild. I'm like, man, you can't tell me my man hadn't been locked up before.
Yeah.
I'm like a honey bun. Yeah.
It was the principal. The principality.
Yeah, you're right. It's the principality.
It's the principality of everything, man. But yeah, bro. I know it'll be noon before you know it, man. So it's been a great show. As usual. Appreciate everybody who showed up and everybody who's going to watch the restream.
Shout out to you guys.
Shout out to Eminem ATL for the $10 super chat again.
Hey, yes, sir, Eminem. Salute. Naval brother.
Shout out to everybody on Facebook that's tuned in. And if you're on Twitch, which it always shows one person. I don't know if that's me, because I don't know why it always shows one person on Twitch. which I'm not on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not like actively had the app open or anything. So it always just says 1. So I guess they always count you as a person. I don't know.
No, not if you're not on it. So it's a viewer.
Yeah, I don't know how it like unless because I have the app. I don't know why it would say that. It always every time we're on here, it always says 1. You know, so I don't know what that's about, but yeah. But
I'm gonna be trying to catch you from the beach Monday.
Oh yeah, man, that's a good idea, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna catch you. I have a little bit different scenery Monday when I log in with you fine people. Oh
yeah, God willing, man. Most definitely, bro. Well, I'm not gonna hold you. Any closing remarks, QT Dub?
Nah, man. I'm trying to get logged into work so I can get logged out, bro. It's vacay time.
Oh,
vacay.
Yeah. It's 11. It got 11 o'clock quick, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's been great, man. Another great show, guys. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You're gonna have some colorful drinks on Monday. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know, make sure you guys follow the Independent Mail. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't. Follow on all platforms, and we're gonna catch you guys on the next one, man. You guys have been great.
Peace. Colorful drinks for sure, Eminem. Y'all have a good one.
Later.